Controlling your attention is more than just being able to focus on a single task. It's about choosing to have the experience that you want to have. Hello and welcome back to my channel, where you are what matters. Today we're going to be talking about attention management, which just means how you control what you pay attention to, so that you can be intentional about what you're paying attention to instead of just being distracted by a bunch of stuff that doesn't matter. If you like videos like this, or about productivity or motivation or stress relief, now's a great time to go down and hit the subscribe button below so you don't miss a video. Author Sonia Parker writes, "Whatever you focus your attention on will become important, even if it's unimportant. By managing your attention, you control the experience that you have in life." For example, if you're out to eat with a friend and they are constantly being distracted by their phone, how good is that conversation going to be? Or if you're at home having dinner in front of the TV, how good is the food going to taste? I mean, are you even tasting it at all? The way we give our attention to an event changes the way that we experience it. You could go to a rock concert and really immerse yourself in the experience and enjoy everything that's going on, or you could be live streaming it and posting pics to Instagram. Which one of those options sounds like a richer experience? The problem is, we aren't just fighting our own brains to stay focused. We're competing with every marketer ever who wants the chance to make money off of our attention. So with all the distractions that we have today, calls, texts, emails, every app ever trying to push a notification onto your screen, we not only need to focus our attention, we have to be able to notice when we get distracted. Attention management is quite possibly the most important productivity tool ever. You can manage your time, your energy, you could calendar block your life into 2045, but if you're not paying attention to the stuff that you're working on, it won't be as good and you won't get it done as quickly. So let's talk about your brain for a second. It has a lot going on. Your body is sending around 11 million bits of data per second. Our brain cannot consciously process all that information at once. We're only able to process about 40 bits a second on a conscious level. 40 bits out of 11 million? That is not very much. In fact, your brain is filtering out 99.99999964% of the data that your body is sending to your brain. That's how it is that you manage to get immersed in some sort of activity and maybe get into a flow state and not remember to eat or not realize how tired you are until you stopped. Your brain was simply not paying attention to those sensations at the time. Now, you would think needing to eat or to sleep would be kind of a big concern for your brain, but the things that you choose to focus on get filtered through a whole bunch of other stuff before deciding what to pay attention to. Things like your mood or your concern or your belief system or your expectations. So if you woke up on the wrong side of the bed today and you're a bit grumpy, you're going to be filtering your experiences through your mood. So even though some positive things will probably happen to you today, you're more likely to focus on the downside. Like, oh yeah, I won the lottery. Look at all the taxes I'm going to have to pay. But because of all of this filtering and personal experiences is why two people can have the exact same experience but have completely different reactions to it. It's possible that each person was focusing on such drastically different parts of the event that they didn't actually have the same experience at all. Now it's time to strengthen up the muscle that is your attention. I've got some tips and an exercise to help you manage your attention so that you can have the experience that you want to have instead of the experience that someone else wants you to have. Let's talk about the easy stuff first. External attention thieves, also known as distractions. Holy hell, they are everywhere. And the most distracting thing that you own, you willingly carry around with you in your pocket all day long. In fact, it's so distracting that even if it's off and face down, if it's in your line of sight, it is reducing the quality of your performance. Now imagine what it's doing when it's blowing up with notifications. Now you might not think that distractions are a big deal. Say a coworker stops by and talks to you for 5 minutes about The Bachelor last night. You only lost 5 minutes and, maybe a couple more minutes getting refocused on what you were doing. However, a study shows that the distraction might have cost you the 5 minutes while you were being distracted and potentially another 23 minutes and 15 seconds of getting back to the level of focus that you had before. So basically, if you're getting distracted every 20 minutes, you are never reaching your full potential of focus. Ouch. Okay. What can we do about this? First thing to do is when you are working to keep that phone out of sight with all of the notifications off. Or if you really like to have your notifications on, then when you're working, put your phone in airplane mode and hide that sucker so that you can't see it. Second is to do only one thing at a time. Now look, I am the poster child of 12 different applications open and 200 internet tabs. So I struggle with this too. Try opening only the software that you need to work with and only the internet tabs that you need. If you're going to be working on something that does not need the internet, then turn off your Wi-Fi. If you have to work online, then make sure that you only have tabs open that are relevant to the project that you're working on and turn off all of those computer notifications. The third thing is to control your work environment. This can be really hard if you have small children or you work in an open office environment. Do what you can to make it clear that you need the next 30 minutes, 60 minutes to focus on whatever you're working on. Get noise-canceling headphones or put on a movie for the kids and hide in your office or your bathroom or your closet, whatever it takes. Do whatever you need to do to isolate yourself so that you can hear yourself think and give this project the full attention it needs. So that's the external attention thieves, but we've got these crazy brains that are always running around in circles, so we have internal attention thieves too, which is pretty much just our thoughts. Ever had a time when you randomly thought of something that you wanted to know? Did you stop what you were doing so that you could look it up? Hey Siri, do flamingos have webbed feet? Hey Siri, what's our biggest organ?
Here's what I found from nationalgeographic.com. Skin is the human body's largest organ.
Hey Siri, who is the tallest person ever?
Robert Pershing Wadlow, also known as the Alton Giant and the Giant of Illinois, was an American man who was the tallest person in recorded history.
Now, if you've ever had a difficult meditation experience, you know that it's pretty much impossible to control our thoughts. So it's not so much about thought control as it is about thought management. I'm not asking you to stop having random thoughts about, say, who won the 1976 World Series. What I'm saying is to change your reaction to what happens when you do have those thoughts. The easiest way to deal with these thoughts is good old pen and paper. Everywhere I work, I keep a pen and paper nearby so that I can resist opening my phone because I remembered that we're out of eggs. If I open that phone, I am a goner. Before you know it, I'm checking the weather and scrolling social media and wasting precious time and energy and attention. And after it's all said and done, I probably didn't even put the damn eggs on my grocery list. Enter the pen and paper. Now, you could have a single journal, which is probably the most efficient way, or you can just keep a pen and paper nearby where you're working. When you have a random thought, you simply write it down and go back to your work. Then at the end of your work session, you can deal with all of the random thoughts that you had while you were working. By getting this information that's floating around your head out of your head and onto the piece of paper, your brain will drop it. It knows that the information is safely stowed away on that paper and it doesn't need to keep recirculating that information so that you don't forget it. If you don't write it down, then what happens is your brain keeps trying to remember and trying to remember and trying to remember, which is completely distracting you from what you actually want to be working on. Okay, so the last exercise is less about staying focused and more about the actual management of your attention. Focus is only a small portion of your attention management. The other part is controlling the experience that you want to have. Even though there are tons of other factors that get involved in our attention management, we still have the ability to control our attention. For example, if I said, I want you to go for a drive and come back and tell me how many red cars you saw. Pretty basic, right? You're looking for red cars, you're going to see red cars, and you're going to write it down. But if after you got back, I said, so could you also tell me how many black cars you happen to see? You're not going to have a freaking clue because you weren't looking for black cars. You didn't pay any attention to them. Your brain filtered that information out. You also are not going to have a clue about how many green cars or yellow cars or silver cars that you saw because you can't know what you weren't looking for. This is the huge struggle that comes with having a human brain. We go into a situation with a set of expectations, and our brain will do everything that it can to confirm our expectations. This phenomenon is called confirmation bias, and it is something that we currently struggle deeply with in a world where it is so simple to access any kind of information that you want slanted in the direction of your beliefs. Even wine connoisseurs that do most of their work based on smell and taste can be easily fooled by color. In one study that was done, they simply dyed white wine red, and suddenly all of the wine connoisseurs were using terms used to describe red wines and not white ones. Expectation, red wine. Experience, red wine, even though the wine was actually white. In order to control our attention so that we're not just getting what we expect, but are actually open and having the real experience, author and coach Caroline Webb gives this exercise. The first step is the self-check. Now, I already recommend that you check in with yourself several times throughout the day, but right before an important experience is a good time to plan one. Essentially, take a mindfulness moment and just consider how you're feeling mentally, physically, and emotionally. Webb recommends that you consider the following. What do you want? What's your mood? What's the situation, and who are you having it with? The next step is to notice your filters. Because like I talked about, these things are ever changing, especially something like your mood. You really need to pay attention to them in the moment and right before the situation that you're going into. Now consider the situation that you're about to approach. What is it that you are looking for from this situation? And now that you know that by looking for something, you might miss something else, what is something that you might miss? For example, if you're looking for the red cars, you might then miss the black and the yellow and the green. The next step is to be positive. Figure out what it is that it is most important to you for the approaching situation. If you're just going into a meeting to prove somebody wrong, that's a pretty negative mindset. If you can flip that around and find something more positive and generous, you're more likely to have an open experience. The last step is to reassess. Now that you've gone through this entire exercise, you can reassess your thoughts about the approaching situation. Given everything that you've learned about your filters and your attention beforehand, what are you going to change now about what you are going to give your attention to? Question of the day: what is the biggest attention thief that you have, and what are you going to do about it now? Let's help each other out and share some strategies down in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead down and hit the like button, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss a video. If you're looking to dive deeper on this topic, I'll have a link in the show notes for an article that I wrote about it. And also there'll be a link to my 5 Days to Less Stress program, which is a free email program that will help you figure out all of the things that are stressing you out and help you get them off of your plate. There'll also be a link so that you can get on my calendar and have your free call with me so that you can see if life coaching with me will help you. Thanks everybody, and I'll see you in the next video.